It's Wednesday, January 1st, and this is now on HNN.
Illegal New Year's fireworks lit up the night sky across the state. We're tracking damage and injury reports.
Yeah, there was little shards I pulled up, like you can still see.
Partying got out of hand in parts of the mainland. Police in West Virginia say 7 people were injured after a shooting.
North Korea's leader warns his country will soon show the world a new strategic weapon.
I think the impeachment thing, I call it impeachment light. It's a disgrace.
President Trump rings in the new year with new criticism against the impeachment process. I'm Deborah Alfarone at the White House with the latest.
Plus, Tulsi Gabbard makes a splash in New Hampshire.
And I've got this new record, and so life is good.
These stories, and we'll sit down with Wayne Brady coming up on This Is Now. Hey guys, Happy New Year. First, This Is Now of 2020, and we got a lot of news to get to right off the top. We got Allison Blair here. She's here because she just got off FaceTime with a really big interview regarding what was happening overnight.
Right, so it's been a busy night for firefighters across the state. On Maui, Allison spoke to a man who had a very frightening encounter with an illegal aerial. Just got off the phone with him. Allie, what did he have to say?
That's right. His name is Adam Co. He lives on Maui. He was actually just getting off work. He was driving home. Works in Wailea, was driving home. He was in Kahului, near the intersection of Pu'unene and Dairy Road. He said there was no one else on the road last night. There were a lot of people, though, in the neighborhood that he was passing through, shooting off aerial fireworks. He said it was super smoky, couldn't really see anything, and then all of a sudden he saw a flash, heard a boom, and this is what happened.
Wow, look at that. And what, for our podcast listeners at home, what we're looking at is Adam there. He has severe burns. It almost looks like splatter, like from a grease burn.
It's actually shards of glass because the aerial went through the passenger side of his truck.
And we see the busted window there.
After it went through the window, it pierced his headrest, and you can see it went in on the passenger side, and then that's the side it exited on. A huge hole. It looks like a bullet hole almost. And then it actually burst the driver's side back window as well.
Well, I know you just got off FaceTime with him. Let's listen to a little bit of his interview right now.
Came through this side of the headrest. It went boom. And then through here, and then all my stuff is just glass everywhere. The road goes right through a neighborhood, but it was so smoky and everybody's lighting off fireworks. I had no idea what happened. Like, when it happened, like, my buddy that was on the phone, he was like, dude, what the hell just happened? I was like, I gotta go. So I hung up and I sped home. And his mom was a nurse, and she called me at, like, 12:30-ish and was, like, freaking out, making sure I'm okay. But Uncle told me, he's like, dude, you don't need to go to the hospital. You're fine.
So his landlord is actually a paramedic, and so he woke up his landlord as soon as he got home, and his landlord checked him out. He didn't end up going to the emergency room, but he did call police. He filed a police report. He says he's not upset about what happened, not mad at anybody about what happened. He just wants to raise awareness, and he wants people to think about where they're shooting these aerial fireworks and just be cognizant of what they're doing, because this is what can happen. People can get hurt.
Absolutely. And that hole in his headrest, I mean, if it was just a few inches in front.
Yeah, inches away from actually making contact with him.
Right.
I know we're tracking that incident. You're going to have a lot more on that coming up in our evening newscast. You're going to post something on Facebook momentarily. Those pictures, I know you were working on that just moments ago. So we look forward to that report. We're looking at all the other incidents that happened. We're getting a lot of videos in from you guys showing that big fireworks displays in the sky, illegal fireworks displays in the sky overnight. But for now, let's take you over to New York City.
That's right.
There we go.
The
Times Square.
Still
looking busy.
Just begun there.
Yeah.
But officials in New York say they've already started planning the next New Year's Eve celebration. The event in Times Square is one of the most watched celebrations, and Hillary Lane was there as the ball dropped.
At the stroke of midnight, the massive crowd in Times Square rang in the start of 2020.
It's a bucket list item, so always wanted to come to New York and do it in Times Square.
I never gonna regret to spend New Year here.
The Big Apple's big party came off without a hitch, thanks in no small part to the massive police operation that enveloped the crowd. The NYPD had said it was unaware of any credible threats, but protecting this event is always a priority. Revelers had been standing here for hours, partying and celebrating the new year, but many were quick to leave once the ball dropped.
It's very thrilling and exciting, but it's also very cold and there are no toilets. But it is definitely worth it.
If you're going to do something, you do it all the way right. So there's no better place to come for New Year's Eve.
After midnight, 210 sanitation employees descended on the area to clean up more than 65 tons of debris. Hillary Lane, CBS News, New York.
A lot of other local news to get to now.
Yep, we have a overturned vehicle on Waialae Avenue. Police closed it this morning between 13th Ave and 16th Ave. Traffic cams in the area showed emergency crews responding to the scene at around 10 a.m. The car involved was a pickup truck, and we're still awaiting word if there were any injuries.
Yeah, and I know we just called dispatch. They weren't able to tell us if that road is in fact reopened. I last checked, just looking at the traffic cameras, this is tape you're looking at now. I looked at the live version a moment ago, and it did look like it might still be closed, so you might want to avoid that area for a little while. All right, moving on to some more overnight news.
Yep, a man was killed last night while attempting to cross the road near Pearl Harbor's Makalapa Gate. Just before 9, police say a 28-year-old man was driving southbound on Kamehameha Highway when he collided with the pedestrian. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. It's unclear if the pedestrian was in a marked crosswalk, and officials say at this time, speed, alcohol, or drugs do not appear to be contributing factors in the crash. The investigation is still ongoing.
And then more news in from overnight.
2 people have been indicted for the murder of a man whose body was found by hunters off a Kailua hiking trail last year. On May 10th, police say a witness saw Keone Labatad, there on the left, strike 38-year-old Benjamin Awang in the head with a handgun, then take him away in a vehicle. Awang's body was found 5 days later, and sources say he was face down with his hands bound behind his back with duct tape and zip ties. Now, Labatad and Stacy Ma'ae, who's there on the right, were initially charged with kidnapping. Officials say a bail increase is being requested with this new development of this murder indictment.
All right, I saw this national headline. I had to show it to you guys. This is from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. 4 homicides in the first 3 hours of 2020. It's hard to believe, but that's what they're dealing with. And in other parts of the mainland, too, saw a big wave of violence overnight.
Right, so in St. Louis, police were called shortly after midnight to an intersection in the Benton Park neighborhood where 3 people were found dead there. And then several hours later, another victim was found at a different location. So in St. Louis, they recorded 194 homicides last year, and that's up from 186 in 2018. And in West Virginia, police say 7 people were injured after a shooting at a hookah bar in Huntington early New Year's Day. Media there is reporting more than a dozen shell casings were found outside the bar and in a parking lot across the street. About 50 people were inside the bar when police arrived, and the injured were taken to the hospital, and the shooting remains under investigation.
We're monitoring developments out of Iraq all week long, and we have an important update to pass along right now, too.
Right, so the militiamen, the Iran-backed militiamen, have withdrawn from the U.S. Embassy compound in Baghdad after 2 days of clashes with American security forces. Now, there have been no casualties or evacuations, but hundreds of militiamen and their supporters attacked the compound, protesting U.S. airstrikes that killed 25 of their fighters. Now, the U.S. blamed the militia for a rocket attack on an Iraqi military base that killed a U.S. contractor.
All right, we have some news from North Korea now to get to.
North Korean leader Kim Jongun expressed frustration over stalled nuclear negotiations and warned that his country will soon show the world a new strategic weapon. Morgan Chesky reports.
It may be a new year, but it appears Kim Jong-un is still very much the same man leading North Korea. He made some characteristically ambiguous yet ominous announcements regarding his country's nuclear arsenal and its future. Now, state media reported Kim said that he'll soon reveal a new strategic weapon to the world, but he also warned of an unspecified shocking action. Now, the country's leader didn't elaborate on either of those topics, and the country did announce back in September it performed 2 tests at its long-range rocket launch site. Now, Kim's announcement is a direct blow to diplomatic efforts from the Trump administration. The North Korean leader is describing the pressure to nuclear disarm in the face of some harsh sanctions as, quote, gangster-like. Now, important to note here, Kim said North Korea is now no longer obligated to maintain a self-imposed suspension on the testing of nuclear weapons, or ICBMs, which President Trump has touted as a major policy accomplishment during his time in office. At a New Year's Eve party at Mar-a-Lago, the president described the two's relationship, saying, "He likes me, I like him, we get along," adding Kim did sign that agreement to denuclearize, and saying that we're going to find out soon enough if Kim is a man of his word. Morgan Chesky, NBC News, London.
All right, let's take you outside here at home. Look at that. The sky is actually cleared. You'd almost expect to still see some haze in there from all those fireworks overnight, but it does look very beautiful out there. What's the update? I know we don't have Guy today, but he sent you some notes.
He sure did, and this is what he said. Winds will be lighter with generally clear skies for this New Year's Day, but that's ahead of a cold front approaching from the northwest. The front is expected to bring more clouds, increased showers, and breezy trade winds Wednesday night through Friday as it moves down the island chain. Now, there's a chance that the winds could be strong enough to trigger a wind advisory for parts of the state as we head into the weekend, and that extra large northwest swell is on the way down, but a high surf advisory remains up for most north and west parts of the state.
Tulsi Gabbard wishes she was here, I think.
Yeah.
She's doing up to this in New Hampshire.
So she spent her New Year's Day surfing, but obviously not here in Hawaii. The White House hopeful is in Hampton, New Hampshire, where temperatures are below freezing. Gabbard says it's been months since she's been able to surf, and apparently she made local history with today's outing, becoming the first ever presidential candidate to surf in New Hampshire, summer or winter.
All right, we got to get I know, it's right. We got to get an update on the impeachment news. It's time to start talking about that again, I think.
President Trump spoke to the press before entering a New Year's Eve party at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. Deborah L. Ferrone reports on what he had to say.
President Trump spent New Year's Eve the same way he spent much of 2019, slamming Democrats and the impeachment.
I think the impeachment thing, I call it impeachment light. It's a disgrace. And Nancy Pelosi should be ashamed of herself. She's a highly overrated person. I know her well. She's highly overrated.
Democrats and Republicans are still fighting over whether they'll have access to White House documents or hear from witnesses at a Senate impeachment trial.
I don't really care. It doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, I'd be very happy with the trial because we did nothing wrong.
President Trump, if you're so confident you did nothing wrong, why won't you let your men testify?
The president tweeted Tuesday that Democrats are trying to protect former Vice President Joe Biden, who he has accused without evidence of wrongdoing. President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, recently returned from what he calls a fact-finding mission in Ukraine, looking into Mr. Biden and his son Hunter.
The Bidens took millions of dollars laundered out of Ukraine. And the only reason they're getting away with it is because you and the press protect them.
And he said he has plans for defending his client during the Senate trial.
I would testify, I would do demonstrations, I'd give lectures, I'd give summations, or I'd do what I do best, I'd try the case. I'd love to try the case.
Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has blocked off the month of January to deal with an impeachment trial. Deborah L. Ferrone, CBS News, the White House.
Of course, we're going to stay on top of that story as we take you into 2020, and we'll have an update on that every day. Hey, it's the New Year's.
It is.
We're at work. Everyone else is hungover at home.
And if you are hungover, don't drive, because researchers say driving while hungover can be just as unsafe as driving drunk. In fact, Ford Motor Company created a hangover suit to prove it. So the suit includes goggles that give you double vision, headphones that play pulsing music to mimic a pounding headache, and weights that affect balance and slow movement. Now, the suit was developed to help young drivers and their parents experience the physical effects of drinking too much alcohol without having to consume any.
It looks ridiculous. I'm sorry, that looks so ridiculous. And when simulating pounding headaches by pulsing music, you said? Okay, okay. Well, lesson learned there.
I would want to put it on and just see how well I could drive.
Hangovers are the worst. I don't need an imitation. All right, What's this thing called dry January?
I know. So the new year means New Year resolutions and diets, including dry January, which means no alcohol the entire month of January. And apparently 1 in 5 Americans participated in dry January last year. So this year, Hilton Hotels and Resorts is offering new off-the-menu mocktails in addition to their traditional cocktail options.
Okay.
What do you think, Jonathan? Are you thinking of dry January?
Sounds like juice. I mean, it wouldn't just be orange juice, or it's just pretty boring. And if you're on the mainland, you gotta stay warm somehow, right? For all those folks over there. So I don't know. Good for anyone who wants to try it out.
Maybe not for us.
Cut a few carbs. Definitely, I don't know. Resolution?
I mean, I have the same ones every year. I try to do 2 international trips, drink more water.
Drink more water? Yeah. That's something simple.
Yeah, that's harder than you think.
Yeah, mine's going to be a carb-cutting resolution necessary. It was a piggy fest of a holiday. Seriously. I ate so much. And thanks, Mom, for that care package. I'm still working on it. Poor Mariah, she can't get a break.
I know, poor Mariah. So she ended her 2019 by getting hacked. On New Year's Eve, Carrie's Twitter account appeared to have been hacked, posting dozens of offensive, racist, and even lewd tweets. Now, the tweets were deleted and Twitter confirmed her account had been compromised. Carrie has 21.4 million followers and later tweeted that she was taking a nap when it all happened.
I really feel like she's actually gotten a lot of good press recently, but it's been a year of ups and downs. And, she takes a lot of heat. All right, speaking of celebrities, we had a big one on the Sunrise Couch this week.
I love him. Wayne Brady, he is the host of Let's Make a Deal. He has a lot going on, including being a Broadway performer, the winner of The Masked Singer, and he's producing more music. He stopped by Sunrise to talk with us, and let's listen to what he had to say.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Do you do the New Year's resolution thing?
Yeah, but I mean, a resolution, now I think I'm old enough to realize that a resolution should actually happen anytime during the year. Just say that you're going to do it, because we always set ourselves up like this is going to be the year that I ... and it's not the year. If you're really not going to eat too much, then you can do that whenever. If you're not going to drink too much, then you do it whenever. I've learned to not set myself up for failure, because I've done it way too much.
Well, Grace Lee said it a little bit earlier. Gosh, what is it that you don't do? Is there anything that you're going to be doing that you want to do that you haven't done yet coming up in this next year?
Well, I mean, I think in this next year, work-wise, I've got my production partner, who is also my best friend, who is my ex-wife, Mandy Takeda. She's from Kaneohe, went to Castle, and my ex-father-in-law is Ron Takeda. So shout out to Dad. We have a production company, so we are producing 2 shows this year. One is, and I can't say when because they're in the pilot phase, but it's just cool. Like, you don't get to sell 2 shows right off the bat. Right. So we have one that's going to be airing on a network called BYU, and that's on Spectrum. And then we also have a show that's in development right now at CBS All Access.
Nice.
And we just shot the one for BYU. It's an improv reality show competition for teenagers, taking triple threats like I was when I was a kid and teaching them improv and sketch and how to use music to make that happen. And then I'm also on the CW on Black Lightning.
Right. You guys, did you finish filming already?
No, as soon as I leave here tomorrow, I head out to Atlanta to start shooting again.
Wow, because okay, so you're in the middle of shooting that. That's awesome.
And Let's Make a Deal on CBS.
Right.
We'll start up our 11th season. And I've got this new record, and so life is good.
By the way, The Masked Singer, congratulations.
Oh, thanks, man.
Wow.
Thank you.
So I heard that you consulted with Miley, your daughter, before you went on that show.
Absolutely. Everything I do, it's a team effort. It's Mandy, Miley, and Jason, who is Mandy's boyfriend. So we have our little thing called the Core Four. So I sat down and said, hey, that singing competition, I think I'm going to do it. And at first, Miley looked at me like I had 3 heads, because no one is cooler than you are than a 16-year-old in your own house. And so I had to talk to her about it. I said, look, I think I'm going to do it because I want to accomplish this goal. I want to get out certain music. I want to educate the people that don't know that I'm a Broadway star, that I sing with symphonies, that I've been on concerts, that I've been nominated for a Grammy, because you have to educate people. Instead of being mad that people don't know, let people know so you don't have to be mad.
Okay. We've got about 30 seconds here. I want to talk about your Grammy nominee, of course, The Masked Singer you just won, and you've got a brand new single out.
Yes, Flirtin' With for Forever. You can get it on iTunes, Spotify. I've got a video on YouTube. It's a family affair. My daughter's dancing with me at the end. You can see her there.
Nice.
And it's turning out to be, it's going to be a great 2020.
This is the single that's out.
Yes, this is the single that's out right now.
So that usually means when there's a single, there might be like a full album to come later?
Yes, there will definitely be a full EP coming in the next couple of months, and I'll be dropping more singles. But then go to my Instagram, Mr. Brady Baby, and also my YouTube, and you can watch all my videos.
Okay, and that's where people can keep in touch with what you're doing and where you're
going.
going.
Yeah, man, come and say hey.
Okay, local boy here. I mean, you know, Wayne Brady once again in town, in studio here on. Thanks for joining us on New Year's Eve.
Thank you so much.
Much continued success to you.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, we go.
All right, Billy V always getting the cool
I
interviews.
know. I love Wayne Brady. He's so talented.
Yeah.
We're talking. When he was on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Loved it.
So funny, and he was always the singing comedian on that one.
Wasn't he on the Drew Carey show as well? Like way back, the original? I think he
not
might
sure.
have been. Maybe. I might be confusing that with Whose Line Is It Anyway? But great talent, and he does so much. I learned so much from that interview. I didn't realize his local connections are there. Very cool.
He talks about it all the time. Yeah.
I only watched a few of the Masked Singers, so I didn't even realize that he had actually won. And he was the Fox.
He was incredible. Like chicken skin, every performance. Like he was great.
Very cool.
Well deserved.
Very cool. All right. We are going to leave you on this very first show of 2020 with a look at all those cool celebrations from around the world.
I love these.
Yeah, me too. We'll be back here tomorrow, guys.